Fully operational. System online. All stations are now enabled. Target, dog the resistance. Operation Overkill.
You got scars deep enough to last. Heart full of broken glass, and I'm gonna paint it black. Oh, I got bruises I covered up. I've been used every time I loved. Nothing to lose when the devil comes. Oh, turn out the lights, we can turn them down, 'cause turn out the lights, we can burn them out, 'cause I know what's waiting, I know what it's made of, what it's made of. Come and take me closer to the edge now. If you think you can't love me, you can show me how to have a breakdown. If you're gonna touch me, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. You can show me how to have a breakdown. If you're gonna touch me, you got scars deep enough to last. Heart full of broken glass, and I'm gonna paint it black. Oh, I'm not afraid to let you in. Come on and break the skin. Nothing to lose when the devil comes. Oh no. Turn out the lights, we can turn them down, 'cause turn out the lights, we can burn them out, 'cause I know what's waiting, I know what it's made of, what it's made of. Come and take me closer to the edge now. If you think you can't love me, you can show me how to have a breakdown. If you're gonna touch me, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. You can show me how to have a breakdown. If you're gonna touch me. Come and take me closer to the edge now. If you think you can't love me, you can show me how to have a breakdown. If you're gonna touch me, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. You can show me how to have a breakdown. If you're gonna touch me.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the Vulpis World Cup stream. Today we're going to be watching Tyrnävä versus Team Serbia. Two very strong teams competing tonight in the Vulpis World Cup 2020. Still a group stage. We'll see who can end up taking the Titan kill here tonight. And we're just going to get straight in to picks and bans. And let's see what's going on. So straight away we can see a Persephone ban and an Aphrodite ban. You know, two strong characters, typically mid laners. Nothing crazy so far in terms of the draft then. Freya ban also coming out, nothing nuts. Freya, very strong character, does very, very well in that ADC role. Cthulhu going out too. Very tanky character, very good at doing the solo lane. Great CC, great peel, great zoning tools. Everything you could want. Freya ban, you know, she's very, very strong as a magical ADC. She does a lot of damage late game, hyper carry late game. Bit rough in the early game though, however, as you can be able to shut her down by continuous, you know, charging at her, you know, without that ult, especially until level 5, she's very, very unsafe. And the Ra ban comes out from Tyrnävä. He, Ra, very strong character, you know, Lotus Crown, the heal being very easy to play around. Nike ban coming out too. I'm a bit surprised on that one, but maybe that is targeted towards Tyrnävä, as they have been known to pick up that character before. And an insta-lock Morgan coming out from Tyrnävä. This is not a surprise at all. Morgan extremely good at just holding down lane, good pressure, pretty sneaky with the free as well. And you know, the ability to transform as well. Maybe we're gonna look for a home bots here on Tyrnävä, but just see what they decide to pick. If I had to guess, Set and Tsukuyomi being hovered now straight away. Two strong characters. Set, you know, can go ADC, can go mid, as we've seen in the SPL a couple of times. And as they both get locked in, I'm assuming this set is going to end up going mid, but it could also go ADC. Tsukuyomi also just a generally very, very, very strong character. The ult doing tons of damage and being very, very difficult to avoid. And decent clear with the auto attacks and abilities. And not too bad CC either. And there's the home bots getting locked in, as I mentioned earlier. Very good transformation for the Morgan. It's two big home bots ults, right? Lots of CC. Very hard to avoid if the backline is they only have one copy of beads. And a Rama lock-in as well to Tyrnävä. Very strong draft so far. Rama has very, very good lane pressure. Very, very good late game. Being able to self-peel very, very hard with the ultimate. And also do damage while doing it. And as we see a Sobek lock-in here from Team Serbia. Sobek good at peeling, great lane presence, pretty good team fight too. So far, pretty all the squishies have been picked up for Tyrnävä. The Ratatoska ban. This one is aimed at Carvey Cup specifically, and I like this ban coming out. Man's got crazy rat support, and I wish that was a joke, but here we are. I'm gonna see what. Can't wait to see what Tyrnävä bans out here. Fourth ban, not a bad ban ever. Does pretty decently into Morgan as far as I'm aware. And, you know, very annoying being able to play around those walls super, super well with the 3-1 combos. And the all, you know, just being hitting like a forward focus on a Thursday evening. Very spicy indeed. So looking towards the last ban here from Serbia, and it's going to be the Hades, and I think this could be targeted at Infinity. You know, Serbia obviously have done their homework, they've done their research. These are very, very targeted bans. You know, ban's got a crazy Hades, Infinity Hades one trick confirmed. And the Cupid ban coming out from Tyrnävä, I'm not really surprised. Just, you know, good character, very annoying, big CC ult, sustain. Very, very good utility-based hunter. Just looking to see here if we're going to end up seeing a mid laner or an ADC coming out from Team Serbia, so we know where this set will end up going. That's a Hera lock-in coming out from Team Serbia, and that means this set is very, very likely to go ADC, but, you know, maybe something crazy is going to end up happening. So you see the Cabrakan being hovered here. I'm pretty sure that this team can play Cabrakan both solo and Guardian. But looks like the tier is being hovered too, which would, I suppose, imply the Cabrakan support. But then again, this is Tyrnävä, so I mean, for all I know, it could be wrong support, you know. No one really knows. And the final pick here coming out from Team Serbia to round off this pick and ban phase. Could be a lot of things. Serbia could be solo or support. Still not entirely sure where the set is going. Could we maybe even see a Tsukuyomi ADC? This would be nice to discuss with my chair too, which I unfortunately do not have. So I guess, oh, there's the Ravna. I can only assume that maybe this is a set solo, and the Tsukuyomi. Well, I guess we'll see as we get into game here. It's going to be a rather than a lock-in. Guess we'll see where this takes us as we get into game one. Looking at the drafts right here, I definitely have to give it to Tyrnävä. I think this draft is looking extremely solid, and I now can confirm to you guys that it is going to be Bracken solo and tier support. Now that is cool. You love to see it. So by the looks of it here, it does look like it is going to be a set ADC and Tsukuyomi solo. Now, this is not 100% orthodox, but nonetheless could work very, very well. As this is game one, I'm going to go ahead and introduce teams. So Tyrnävä, also known as Team Finland, we got Infilty in the solo lane on Bracken, Archie Baker and Mino Kino on the Humbats Morgan jungle mid, Tyr on the Carvi Cup, Carvi Cup.
Minions have spawned.
Apologies about that. Carvi Cup on the tier support and Gods for Life on the Ram ADC. And on the Chaos side, we have Team Serbia, Ojiba on the set solo, Nigel on the Ravnish jungle, Hera, Soily on the Hera mid, Madface on the Serbic support, and Zixia on the Tsukuyomi ADC. So it does look like we're going to see fairly meta starts here out of both sides, except Tyrnävä opting not to go for this Harpy on the left side, instead just rushing straight for that wave and pushing that straight into the tower. Good play. Pretty good aggression coming out from mid lane too. Very good when Morgan using that early game pressure. I want to redirect the attention to the Bracken leaving base so late, as he does wait in spawn for those Shoes of the Magi, which will give him lifesteal, and it's a very good amount of power for such an early game, for such an early time in the game. So far, it does look like Tyrnävä does have the control. Mid Harpy's gotten Totem of Ku secured. And so far, no real big kills, but it's already a 300 gold lead. Oh, hold that forward. We see some aggression coming out in the duo lane here. Archbaker blinking in the pluck hit onto the tier. Tsukuyomi getting very, very, very low. The Serbic also in the back super, super low, and that's going to be a kill from both out. As first and second blood in favor of Tyrnävä. Very, very well played coming out from them there as a way to bait the duo lane into that area and just start slapping them very hard for them to get out, especially after the Sobek uses block. Oh, and we're going to see some aggression into mid here too, rather than likely to fall after the jump in from Humbats, and he does go down there. And that also, the Hera's beads was also caught right there, and that is very, very big. That means she's going to be a very easy target for Humbats if he manages to hit level 5 and get that ult in time. It's free engage. Solid, solid team play coming out from Tyrnävä here. Just dominating the map the way they do. You know, you want to see some aggression coming out from the tier support. Warriors in the support typically mean you want to play very, very aggressively. And that's what they've been doing, and they've done it very, very well. Very good execution. And that means Tyrnävä will take a 2k gold lead as the second round of camps begin to spawn now. No real invades, I believe, happened, except for Kabrakan back camp invade, so nothing too massive, but nonetheless, still a game. Gonna see some aggression in dual lane as Sobek hits the block, but the tier is tanky and he is sustainable. He will be fine. So, right now I assume we're just gonna see the little lanes just slap each other for a bit, keep farming up. No reason to keep rushing into fights here unless they are looking for something in particular. No, not really in a position to invade, and it's way too early to do any sort of gold fury objective. So, just gonna be farming, secure the farm, etc. Just try to push the lead as hard as we can. So we see the reinforced greaves coming out here from tier. Very good item, you know, good CCR, which is not bad into this Sobek Tsukuyomi duo lane, nor the Ravana Hera mid and jungle. And is also a cheaper option in comparison to Teleria and Warrior Taboy. And, you know, it's a bit of extra health and tankiness on that passive. I think generally smart pick up right here. However, aggression is solo lane, big gank coming onto the Kabrakan, he does fall down almost instantaneously. That was the set, and Ravana ult pop for it though. And as the big rotation comes out there, they don't really get much off it though, but still a clean kill. See, Archie Baker in the jungle here, looking for something to take away potentially, maybe looking for the speed camp, but no. Decides maybe it's not a smart idea to fight it up, unless he does decide to go in for it. Nope, never mind. Decides not to. However, we do see Tyrnävä pinging out the purple buff here, and I think we all know where this is going. Pretty good damage coming out from Gods for Life here onto the Tsukuyomi ADC, means this invade could be free onto the purple buff. And we see also Archie Baker going for this blue buff here in right. Archie Baker steals it away successfully and gets out scot-free. Very, very clean invade coming out. You can see Sobek lurking around the jungle here. Still only level 4. Does not have access to that ultimate yet. Does not manage to get that steal, unfortunately. That would have been very funny indeed. Tyr now looking for the blink onto the Hera. So that's where Bede's gone. Ooh, I'd like to say Bede's baited there. There was no thought anywhere near for that Tyr there. Very well played by Carvey if that was his intention to bait out the beads. Now that means Humbots once again has a free ult onto him. That probably means a guaranteed kill too. Very, very well played. Just shows how experienced these players are. They know that they can play like this. Like, they always look for opportunities, you know, look for the red invade, look for free beads, lots of stuff. Oh, and good damage coming out in solo here too. As we see Kabrakan beat down this set, but once he pops that ult, you know, he heals back. Oh! That's the set's beads forced out. Very well played from Filthy there to get those beads. Oh, we see Humbuts, the monkey, coming around onto the right side, maybe looking for a kill. Oh, onto the set. Oh, misses the auto attack. Is set out? Oh, nah. Tyr brings down the justice and takes out Ojibra. That set will not be allowed to survive, but he's out of mana. Needs to be a bit careful as this may be a free kill for this Rob. And while this is happening on, Sobek and Hera loop around into the solo lane. Ravana does manage to pick up Tyr, and the rest of Tyrnävä is forced out. Oh, and in dual lane, maybe a solo kill? Ra manages to pick it up with the snipe, manages to take down Zixi, and even after the use of the ult from both sides. Very hard to find this Rama early on, the one being extremely good wave clear, being extremely good. Slow, does a lot of damage, allows you to shoot through those walls, play around the jungle very, very well. And we see Archbaker just securing the Oracle the way he does best. And Nino Kino looking for free kill. Oh no, this is... Oh, wait, no, he got it off. Nice. Good swap into the monkey there to get the ult off onto Hera. Makes a free kill, but does take a lot of poke for it. Does get picked up by the Ravana, but while that's happening, Archbaker and Carby Cup managed to pick up the Sobek. It's probably very, very worth in their favor, despite the Morgan being level 9 and Hera only being 8. It's 2 for 1, and a very, very effective trade. So, I would like to see Tyrnävä maybe looking towards the fight at gold 3 now. They are very, very far ahead, and they have that tier support. 2 levels in duo, 1 level in mid, 1 level in support, 3k gold and 2k experience overall, and, you know, just pretty big advantages across the board here. Would be nice to see them look for something here to try and push that lead even further, and even if it's just grouping up for a mid-tier 1, you know, it's something. Maybe a bit tough at the start of the game, at this time of the game. Oh, I'm going to see some more aggression in this duo lane. Scots for Life goes up into the air, looks for the snipes. Ooh, has the snipes, hits all 3, and that's going to take out Tsukuyomi. Wow. This man's ROM ain't to be messed around with, apparently. And here I thought we only played Auron, am I right? There's another kill there. Rom is just going to extend his lead, it looks like. Not much to get on that side of the map as all the camps are down. But rotating towards the red buff now, maybe looking to pick off this arrow. But while that's happening, in the solo lane, we have a Kabrakan getting ganked, but while that happens, Hera gets picked off in mid as expected due to the tier fearless and the Rom shot through the wall. Not much that can be done there, really, when she doesn't have the beads available. But, it's done is done. See Rom here, continuing to just farm up, and look how quickly he just disintegrates that wave with just some auto attacks. Gonna go back here and spend some of that gold he likely has. As looks to be most of Tyrnävä, it's the same thing. Tyrnävä here decide to spend some of that lead. So, as there's a break of the action, I want to talk about here the Doom Orb from Morgan coming out. Doom Orb is great sustain, 25 MP5 and 200 mana. It's movement speed, which allows it to move fast, which is very, very useful on Morgan when you want to run around and be sneaky, get into those areas where you can get good transformations, and that movement speed increases with stacks. Oh, hold that fort, blink in duel. Beats from the Tsukuyomi pop off with the blinking from Tyr, and nice rolling from Rom is going to pick up that kill. Morgan and Humbut's already here, going to look to pick off this Sobek, and they do. Clean double kill again coming out from the dueling, and that was without any ults used. They managed to do that without a single ultimate. I'd be surprised if we don't look for a gold for doing this. We can see Tyrnävä are starting this up. We'll see if Serbia try to contest this. Oh, reset, unfortunate. But doesn't look like it's going to be much of a contest here. Oh. Tyr coming out there. Secured a gold fury from Tyrnävä, and they increased the siege to 6k. And while that's happening, does the Kabrakan just get soloed by the set? We're gonna need an instant replay on that. INAP instant replay. Could you get a VAR check? I don't know, something. But that's a free kill for the set. Solo onto the Kabrakan. Unfortunate. And as we see this, Ravna happens to catch Morgan in the jungle here. This is very, very scary for the Morgan. Juking around. Oh, thought she was out for a second there, but nope. Hera manages to snipe with the one. And that's going to be 2 quick kills for Serbia. Very good. But the 5k lead still there for Tyrnävä. And I'd assume some XP, but, you know, we see some level differences here, actually. 1 up on the jungle, 1 up on the solo. Mid is even, support is 1, and the ADC is 4. Very rough. A few things you definitely don't want to see very often is this Rom being ahead. And I want to talk about this because this is very interesting. Berserker Shield coming out from Rom. Now, this is an extremely smart pickup. You know, set and... Oh, hold that thought. I'll talk about that later as we see the ult coming in from the tier. No beast popped from the Tsukuyomi as it was not up. No panic or either. Good composure from the man coming out. But there is some aggression looking to happen in this red buff here. But Serbia does manage to secure it, but while that's happening, Rama looking for another kill here onto the Tsukuyomi, and he has the shots, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Gods for Life gonna pick up the kill. Absolutely crazy game coming out from him so far. We see some aggression here onto the Sobek 2, but probably not going to be much of it. That is a tank, and that is just a tier. And Ron picks up that tier 2 as well. That's 1,500 gold to the team there. That lead is getting out of control currently. We're going to see, it's almost like Serbia's getting backed up against the wall a bit here. It's almost 7k at 12 minutes. It's going to end up being hard to come back from. We're going to see them dancing around. Ooh. Okay, did I see that incorrectly, or did Subic just pluck the decoy, but Mino Kino beats it anyways? That would have been a montage level play right there, had it only Mino not beats that. But, you know, hard to tell that you're not going to have to end up beating that, you know, has to be very, very quick on that reaction time, you know. So while this is breaking the action here, I want to go back to the Berserker Shield coming out from Rom. Very smart pickup here. You are fighting a Tsukuyomi. He's not going to necessarily outbox you, but that those defenses are very, very useful for the set, rather than that and Tsukuyomi guide you, as they will very, 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 very likely end up doing, which, you know, is what Serbia's comps aim to do. They have the set, they have the Tsukuyomi, and they have the Rovna, and they all intend to get to the backline. So the extra physical defense here from Ron is going to really, really, really help, and especially help push his advantage. Look at him, he just does so much damage. He's gone. Where'd he go? Tsukuyomi's gone. But he secured the purple buff, so I guess they're tuning it. More damage coming out here in the fight here. Pumbut's ult dropped. Big snipes coming out from Gods of Life, but he will end up being picked up, and so will Archie Baker. That is a very, very big loss for Tyrnävä, but Minokino does manage to pick up Hera in the back with the stealth. He's looking for more tools to drop. Big damage picked out. Gets plucked away though, and the transform goes back out. And he's gonna manage to get away maybe with this Invis? I think he's out. And now Carby Cup and Infinity will be looking to pick up this set. Ooh, the 3 barely misses onto Morgan. But Subic is looking for this. Oh, he's just been baited. Ooh, he might not be out. Infinity going for it, and he picks it up. Alright. So that ends up being a 4-for-2 in favor of Tyrnävä. But very, very big shot down onto Gods of Life here. That might not even have been so unworth for Serbia. If not a win at all. There must have been a lot of gold on that ROM that someone got for that kill. So, let me see here. Back to the farming. You know, games against Tyrnävä, they're always going to end up being a endless team fight, you know? They're just always looking for something. Like, look at Infinity. Look at this man. What's he doing here? They're looking for Oni Fury already. I see some requests to talk about the tier build here. You know, Relic Dagger allows you to press that blink a lot more often. It's 300 health. It's a very, very, very cheap, valuable item. Sorry about that, apologies, but as I come back, there's some aggression in mid lane as Minokino does manage to get plucked, but he does get the transform and the ult, and he manages to set up that kill on Hera very, very nicely there, and that's another free kill for Tyrnävä, as it looks like the disengage does come out, and they will not look for anything more. So, back to the tier build. Relic Dagger is an extremely high value item. It's 1800 gold for a lot of movement speed, a lot of health, and it allows you to press that blink a lot more often. And 10 CDR. And they also the Cursed Ankh coming out. Now this is interesting because Set is going to be healing a lot with that ult. Sobek has his free, and Ravnan does have his free, though that's not a very, very worth mentioning heal. And the Shield of Regrow coming out from tier 2 allows him to press 2 and just move a lot faster. Speedy 2, but in 20 late. So Tyrnävä will pick up the Oni Fury uncontested there, but while they do that, Serbia very smartly go to the other side and pick up the Pyromancer, you know. Unlikely for them to be able to contest that Oni Fury successfully anyway. It would have to be a serious mistake from Tyrnävä if they manage to give that up. So they just, you know, cut their losses, they get the Pyro Fury, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. The Pyromancer, and just get out for free. But the grouping here on right from Tyrnävä, they might be looking for FG already while these Oni waves are pushing. It's entirely possible, yeah, it is started up. It's a very, very risky fire giant attempt. This could end up going horribly wrong. Infinity is zoning them out. They're up, and their call has apparently turned to fight. They're going to collapse onto this Sarah here. She is walled in, and she has nowhere to go. That's an instant death. And they're all straight onto the Humbots too. Not the Humbots. The Humbots is the one who altered. And Set just gets instant. And now they can a bit safer turn their sights towards the FG. Looks like, yeah, Serbia have decided to back off. Just going to go look for camps on the left side, look for any sort of farm they can take away from Tyrnävä while they do this fire giant. And it is a fire giant for Tyrnävä, which is very, very scary if you are rooting for Team Serbia right now. Tyrnävä, going to just look towards pushing this right tier 2. I doubt they will go for Phoenix straight away. They probably want to back and spend or go for mid towers first and then back and go for it. And it looks like they're just going to back straight away, smartly, and spend that gold, increase that lead, and, you know, just start running them over. 8.5 thousand gold and 6,000 experience. The experience difference is actually not that insane if you look at it. It really just comes down to this ADC, unfortunately. You know, because jungle is even, solo is even, mid is even, support is 1 level, yeah, but it's support. But this ADC is just, it's 3 levels. Quite a lot. Feels like Serbia are backed up against the wall here a little bit. It's going to be very, very tough for them to defend almost anything here successfully. Besides maybe a Phoenix defense, it's possible, but it's going to be very, very tough. FG on these members is just going to be nuts. Hera no bead for 30 seconds, so that with Humbut's ult and then Morgan Humbut's ult, it's gonna kill them very, very quickly. You can see Tyrnävä not opting to go for a Phoenix here. Either they are looking to go left, or they are looking to just look for some sort of camps. Got a bit of time left on that FG, so maybe they will be looking for this left Phoenix. Left Phoenix is definitely the smartest option to go for, and the reason you always want to go for left Phoenix is because it is the Phoenix that is furthest away from where most of the action will end up happening. Mid allows for easy rotations to both sides, right allows you to be close to FG, which makes it lose some of its value of getting the Phoenix. However, on left side, you have to go on all the way to the other side of the map to defend those fire waves. And that is a very, very big deal, and it can be extremely costly. So, you'll see them pushing up left here, maybe looking to go for the fight. No, it looks like they will send the Archie Baker in to split the mid wave. This is smart if you want to force them to have to divide their resources. Red Team's defense here is going to be very, very rough now that it is mentioned to be. 3 dive characters into an already behind pump when they're already behind is not very, very ideal, but if they can manage to get a cheeky pick onto the Brahma or Morgan, this will snowball for them very, very quickly. And we can see the balloon coming in from Hard Cup, boots pop from Tsukuyomi. Hera ult drop and Tsukuyomi ult drop too. Backline's character getting very, very low. Nina Kuni transferring into the Humbat, so it hits a lot of people. God's Life into the air with the Rom snipes. Manages to do decent damage, but Kodikop manages to fall, and so does the Rom. So far, this is looking very, very good for Team Serbia. Very successful defenses. 2 characters. The dual lane does go down. And Serbia will successfully hold this left side Phoenix. Commentator's curse, I believe, as they say. So, interestingly there enough, I think Tyr blinks in a little bit prematurely. Even the blink isn't necessarily wrong in itself, but it's not really in any position where it can be followed up or safely disengaged. So as soon as that Tsukuyomi pops that boost, the team fight's kind of already over. Hera ult does hit both the backline carries, and as well as Tsukuyomi ult managing to hit a lot of stuff simultaneously. Just does a lot of damage. Even after the Aegis popped, it's a little bit too little too late, and they just managed to hold it afterward. However, Tyrnävä still looking at a 7k lead. so it's not donezo yet. But, you know, who knows, maybe Serbia are going to make a sick comeback. Not really contested by Serbia, again, not really much point in contesting it either. It is a Pyromancer, not worth that much. However, it does allow for speedy movement out of the spawn. And you may just be looking to look for some sort of FG fight right here. No Phoenix is down for Tyrnävä, so it's not going to be a very, very easy job for... no Phoenix is down for Serbia, so it's not going to be completely free for Tyrnävä. But, you know... Ooh, see Serbia starting up the Gold Fury here. This is not the worst call ever. Maybe his plan is to just give up that FG, but as you can see, almost on reaction, Tyrnävä does start playing the FG, and this is going to be relatively or completely uncontested. But Serbia also going to take a tier 1 here, and this is, I like to see this coming out from Serbia. I like to call this the Cloud9 smite tactic. When they are very far behind, it's a very, very, very deep hole that Serbia seems to be stuck in. So what they want to do, they try to just extend, divide their resources, look for farm wherever they can get it. Don't try to go for any hero plays, as in, you know, thick FG steal into team wipe. They just accept the loss, you know, okay, we can't really contest FG here. Get the Gold Fury, get the tier 1 in left, and just pray for another successful Phoenix defense. They've done it once, but can they do it again? Ooh, rare Mr. Blink Fearless coming out for Cardi Cub here. Not going to catch anything with that. That's a very, very, very big engagement resource coming out from Tyr. And speaking of Tyr, Emperor's Armor going to help with that sieging, as it does reduce the Phoenix's attack speed. He does intend to be on those backline carries, which means he will end up being close to that Phoenix most likely, which means it will be relatively high value. Again, pretty smart pickup. And once again, to mention the defense coming out from Rom, a Void Shield, and this is for the exact same reason. He's going to be getting dove, he's going to be getting hit by this Ravna, Set, and Tsukuyomi, as we did see at the successful Phoenix defense. So, Void Shield will increase his damage slightly, increase his physical protections, and reduce physical power in an aura. Now, this is very, very big, which will make Rom very, very tanky, and not so easy to lock down, may I note. It's going to be tough for the Hera to get in there and do proper damage with Tyr running around in the back, just doing damage. So, I think, again, this is an extremely smart building coming out from Tyrnävä's dueling. Very, very... It just shows, you know, this is a team, you know, very smart, you know, play the game a lot, done their research, and they just know the situation. Very, 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 very good. Gonna see... Tyrnävä grouping for this left Phoenix, but Kraken and Morgan are in fact splitting right. Now this is interesting. There's no one in position to defend this right Phoenix here, so this is maybe just a successful bait coming out from Tyrnävä, but the blink in from Serbia as they try to start the engage, it has failed. They drop a lot of resources here to try and chase down the kill, but I don't think they can do it. That Phoenix is already gone, and Karvikar perfectly fails his Ojiba away from his backline. And the Humbats to peel for the support. They will not get anything for this. I don't even think they'll get a kill. Maybe they'll pick up the Tyr, but he's too fast. He has that regrowth. Ritual Dagger. He's just too fast. Oh, Surrender vote coming out. I can assume that's from Serbia. Morale maybe not so high. That's unfortunate. I'm surprised we didn't see Cabrakan and Morgan just go for a Titan Rush there. Granted, Morgan probably doesn't have the highest Titan DPS when she didn't have the transformation, as she did transform into the ROM to help kill that Phoenix as fast as possible. But Cabrakan does hit that thing for quite a lot. And, you know, potentially could set up Tyrnävä for a pretty good Titan Rush if they choose to go for it. You can see Spear of Desolation coming out from Cabrakan. He just wants to hit those carries hard. And that means if he gets a kill or a assist, he will get cooldowns reset. Really looking to capitalize. Oh, Terra been caught out here. Oh, this could be a big kill. She's getting very, very low. No beats, no Avis. And she's down. This is very, very, very huge. As we can see, Tyrnävä spamming that mid Phoenix. They still have a bit of FG left, but it won't be for much longer. 15 seconds. Gonna see them rush down this Phoenix right here, and they should be relatively free. Serbia are trying to hold this though. They are taking the defense point. Serbia ulti, he just gets exploded instantly. Robner also ulting, gets half health almost immediately. And now they're back on the run. Morgan transform into the Tsukuyomi, and fellas, I think this is it. The front line is going to have to try and hold this against Fire, and I don't think that's something they can do. They're going to do their best, but you know, Titan getting very low, and that's going to be the game. But Ojibwe does manage to pick up Infinity at the end. It's just a super clean game coming out from Tyrnävä. Played almost perfectly, except for a couple of fights that didn't really end up changing the pace of the game at all. Crazy stuff coming out from Tyrnävä here. If I had to give my criticism here, from Tyrnävä, I would like to see a more traditional comp. You know, they are clearly very practiced, Tyrnävä, on the setup of a dive comp. It didn't end up working out so very well. They had control almost immediately from the start of the game. Maybe with a traditional comp, they would do a little bit better, but we'll see how this goes, as that is game 1 in favor of Tyrnävä, and we'll be getting right into game 2 soon.
Do you still have those nightmares, baby? Where you see me, you still tell yourself yourself, you hate me. Unbelieving lately. I know I'm still the villain of your story. You look me in the eyes like you don't even know me. Did it kill you? But I was there too, I was there too. You look me in the eyes like you don't even know me. 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 Maybe I can't learn my lesson. The same intentions, I can't find that same connection. Do you remember? I know I'm still the villain of your story. You look me in the eyes like you don't even know me. Did it kill you? Did it kill you? But I was there too, I was there too. You look me in the eyes like you don't even know me. You don't even know me. Don't even love. Don't even love. Don't even love.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tyrnävä versus Serbia of the World Cup group stage. Now we have found ourselves a chair two, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome LucioHord to the stream.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. It's always a pleasure to cast for some EU stuff. How you doing, Scroll?
You know.
Yeah, I do know.
All right,
man.
so anyway, getting into the draft here. Gonna see a Morrigan ban coming out from Serbia. Obviously, did very, very well last game for Tyrnävä, or Minokino on that. Morgan is a beast. We're gonna see a set ban coming out from Tyrnävä and then Aphrodite ban coming out from Serbia. Why do you think they are so intent on banning this Aphrodite?
Aphrodite is just kind of like annoying, to be honest. I don't even know if she's particularly good unless you're, Dardes. But she has that potential of making that early game really, really tough for you because you have to actually how do you say? You have to get anti-heal, you have to rush it in order to kill anybody who she linked up to. And she can go in 3 roles. She could go in support, which I don't think she's really that good in. She could go in mid, which she's all right in, and she can go in solo, which she's all right in as well. And so having that versatility as well is a good thing to get rid of in a ban slot. And if you want to win the early game and you want to make sure you have a good late game, Afro's got to go in a lot of ways.
Very, very, very logical reasoning there, and we will see Persephone and Tsukuyomi get banned. Rather obvious reasoning, really. Strong characters.
Yeah, they really are. I mean,
High risk, please.
Tsukuyomi can do a lot. And talking about strong characters, we see the Freya ban, and Freya, mage ADCs have kind of plateaued in terms of use, mainly because of the nerfs to Ring of Hecate. But Freya is one of the few that can still hold her own despite things.
Very, very true. And this explosive late game still thing is this. But as we are discussing the Freya ban, raw insta-locked by Serbia. And as we see that Cthulhu Nemesis picked up Team Tyrnävä, and that's a scary combo if I've ever seen one, Lucio.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the second pick, you basically say, hey, they left Nemesis and Cthulhu, so they left Cthulhu, and they left the counter to Cthulhu, Nemesis. And Cthulhu still has a lot of synergy with Nemesis, because she could go collapse on somebody and he just ults, puts a knock-up on them. They have no really way to react. There's just a lot of play between those two. And Cthulhu, another god that's kind of plateaued, in terms of like he's no longer just a super duper good. And I was just about to mention it. The Rom is actually a really good pick into the Cthulhu that's been left up. Rom makes really good use of kin size. He can just basically tape his left click button and he will get value against a Cthulhu.
It's not incorrect at all. And as we see, the other monkey that we have not seen so far this set, Sun Wukong, locked in for Serbia, very popular solo lane pick that we see, you know, in ranked, in SPL, all levels of play, very popular, very solid character. And the Achilles to maybe potentially try and counter that, unless that is support, because it is Kirby Cup and he does play those warriors like the man of W key that he is. So tell me, what do you think this is more likely to go? Do you think it's going to be Cthulhu solo or support?
I really don't want to see Cthulhu in support.
Agreed.
Cthulhu in support is not super good. I actually argue that Achilles has better peel for the ADC in the support lane, mainly because his Shield of Achilles has a really high stun. It's relatively easy to hit, especially if you have that combat dodge and you have good sustain in the kit, which allows you to kind of stay around for a little bit longer. And it does give you a slight kill potential when you can use Fatal Strike offensively or even defensively to get yourself in position to body block a big ability. So I hope Cthulhu's not in support here because I really do think that you lose a lot of what Cthulhu does best by putting him in support instead of just solo. Because right now the build for Cthulhu is to build him primarily damage. You know you're going to die. You know that it's going to happen because that's just how the meta has shifted against him. So you might as well just be outputting as much damage as possible.
Right, and as we see the Sobek and Humbuts banned from Team Tyrnävä and Toff and Silla banned from Team Serbia. Nothing really special about these bans, I'd say, you know, just generally good characters, they do their jobs well.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty of the mid lane. What do you ban in the mid lane, really? Everything's about just equally as good except for Apuash. Apuash, probably one of the worst gods in the game. But
Is this LucioHord making a case for Alquang mid? Hello?
Alquang is not a good
Yeah.
mid.
You
but
heard
don't
it
have
here
to
first,
worry
ladies and
about-
gentlemen.
Yeah, you got
LucioHord,
me.
Alquang mid. Here we go.
You got me. That's the Alquang mid. But no, in all seriousness, like a lot of the mages, like you're really when you go to ban out mid, you go to ban out things you just really don't want to see. And clearly, what you see coming out of Team Serbia is that they don't want to see long range poke and they don't want to see high damage late game. Dove and Scylla are really good at that. Those are two really good gods that just go ahead and eliminate relatively early on.
Very true as well. And now we see Jingtan and 4 being covered. Oh, never mind. Aerie is locked in here. Is this gonna be the sick smite top 5 plays? Aerie's 5-man pull, 5-man raw snipe pentakill.
Yeah.
So
I guess so.
about this 4 pick here, what do you think Serbia would like a 4 pick here?
A Thor? I mean, I guess you're basically saying you have 2 targets for the Ares ult. What I really, you have 3 people that can use the Ares ult really well. Raw Snipe, Rom, Astral Barrage, and Thor Dunk. The problem that I'm having with this is that you just get beads on the side of on the side here of Tyrnävä. You get like Cthulhu's not gonna get hit by Ares ult. Nem might get hit by Ares ult, but she just gets beads. Achilles is not gonna get hit by Ares ult. Nuwa is not gonna get hit by Ares ult. And Hoyi is probably never gonna be close to that Ares to begin with if his positioning's on point. And so like that's really where I'm thinking that they needed a little bit more CC, maybe from the solo lane, maybe from the mid lane to kind of take advantage of that Ares pick, because why pick Ares there over Cerberus, right? Why not have a Cerberus who has a little bit more utility than an Ares, that isn't as vulnerable during the ult as an Ares?
So who do you think wins this game based off draft?
Based of draft, I mean, Tyrnävä has such a strong draft coming out of Cthulhu, Cthulhu Nemesis, Nuwa is just annoying when you're able to press forward to just output damage. She's gonna have really good procs for a Divine Ruin, which kind of makes Ra a little bit less useful. Achilles, we already see going into that support role, and is gonna have a really good impact of like stemming that that duo lane, because Achilles able to put out some pain, able to kind of W key his way in, kind of allowing Hou to get good stuns off, maybe good bounces, which gives him a lot of kill potential. So I would say I would give it to the Chaos side here for sure.
I'd have to agree with you on that, and let's go ahead quickly and introduce the teams. We have Team Serbia playing from the other side this time round. We have Sun Wukong being played by Ojibra, Thor and Ra serving as the mid jungle, played by Niger and Siley respectively. Madface on the AoE support, and Zixi on the ROM. And we have Tyrnävä with the 1-0 lead on the Chaos side. We have Infinity on Cthulhu solo. We have Archbaker on the Nemesis jungle, Nino Kino on the Nuwa mid, Kabi Cup on the Achilles support, and Gods for Life on the Hu Yi ADC. As we're going to see meta starts coming out here from both sides opting to go for Harpy, this time in the duo lane. And camp start from Cthulhu in solo. Aside from that, everything looks normal. Oh, speaking of normal, blinking from the Ares right here to look for some chain damage. Onto Rom, however, not a lot being done with it. As you can see, he's already back to full health.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. You know, you're not going to use the blink anyway, really, anytime soon, so you might as well look for the chains. You did miss that one, which is unfortunate. And they're going to have a little bit of early pressure, and that, I think, comes from the buff a while ago to Ares' is fire, and the ability that it gives him more damage. And Rom's just Rom. Like, he's just going to left-click that wave, and that's going to do what it does.
Now, I've seen this before. We see a Nemesis lurking around in the left jungle right now. No walls on the side yet. Oh, and they're going to start pushing in. That's Rom's dash already on. And, you know, yep, he goes.
This is why I was saying, why pick up the Ares here? Cerberus would have gotten out of that. Like, I'm not saying Cerberus is unilaterally better than Ares. Ares does give you a little bit difference. But one of the big things about Ares is you're basically saying, hey, if we step up, we better be safe. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. They're just going to find you. They're going to stick to you. They're going to stick to you. And that's it.
Not a very good start at all here coming out, as Ares is a character you typically would probably like to be ahead on, and especially not be from behind. You want to be able to control that game with that character, and you will be able to do that from this point. Now we see Tyrnävä, they will go for the oracles here, pick them up pretty much for free. So tell me, why do you think Tyrnävä wants to play this matchup so aggressively as they have done so far?
With the Achilles and Hou, mainly because it's kind of, you already kind of touched on it a little bit. You don't want Ares to get ahead. You don't want Rom to get ahead. You want Hou to be ahead. Hou is probably one of okay, maybe I'm a little bit biased. I love Hou. Let me put that one out there. And also speaking from an ADC man, Hou is also one of the, if not the best gods to feel like you're ahead on. I don't know, something about hitting those ricochets when you're ahead and seeing their health bar just magically disappear, and knowing that you can rotate and have impact with your 9 suns feels really, really good. So being able to kind of put that on there already and keeping this Rom behind, who you know late game is going to be a menace, especially for your Cthulhu. That's kind of why I think you need to play it a little bit more aggressively. You also want to let Nemesis kind of farm up, and if you're being able to play aggressively, it allows Nemesis to take advantage of the fact that now the Thor has to rotate more. As we see here, coming from the Thor dunk, does find Achilles. Nice wall, does block out Achilles from getting out. Dive bomb out of Hou, though, is going to get him safely out of danger. But that's exactly what could happen as well. Achilles overstayed his welcome with barely any mana left.
Yeah, you see, what Thor likes to do is he just runs around on the map, you know, hits you with those ults. And that's what they're going to look to do for the next 15 or so minutes while laning phase continues, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, Thor's best moments in the game is going to be during that the mid game, when he has his ultimate, up until about when you start rotating the laning phase is ended. Like you said, some more aggression, I'm gonna toss this back to you, Scroll.
Right up. Ares is already gone once again, like the way Ares does. You know, he just gets locked down as soon as he's caught out of position, and melted by all the collective damage coming out from the mid trio. That is Achilles, Nuwa, and Nemesis.
Yeah,
How do you think Ares dies so fast in that situation?
Nemesis, man. I mean, Nemesis was the only one to use the ultimate. She was like, "Oh wow, you blink, Divine Judgment, new one, gonna stun you out." I mean, what do you? I just, it's really hard for me to see a situation where Ares is gonna be able to get a good engage on. He can't be the first one to start to initiate, because as soon as he initiates, Nemesis is just gonna ult there. She's just gonna ult. He's gonna have no protections. Even if they choose not to dive on him in particular, now Nemesis has all those protections, and she's just gonna be like, "Oh, is that Raw back there? Easy." And so like that's just, and we see it over and over again. Like he used Blink for that. Nobody wants to use Blink and immediately die. Immediately.
So, do you think this Ares could maybe just be a case of like a comfort pick, maybe?
It could be a comfort pick. It could be that they maybe think they could leverage it a little bit more in the late game, where now there's going to be more than one threat other than Ares. Maybe they, I don't necessarily agree, but they could be saying, hey, focus the Ares, allowing Sun Wukong and Thor to kind of freely roam and do whatever they need to do in that team fight to find their targets, and allowing Ram and Ra to kind of just do some aggression.
Oh, as we see here, the 4-dog coming down into the solo lane, but that is a missed 4-0, and that is a Cthulhu. He is very, very tanky, and he's very unlikely to go in that situation.
Yeah, Thor not really going to find anything. I think right there he was just showing, hey, Cthulhu, don't get too happy in this lane. Don't get super aggressive, because I will be here if you're low. It's just sending a message, really, in my opinion. I kind of like it. You know, Thor's ult isn't on too much of a long cooldown. You can use it a little bit more liberally. And there doesn't seem to be kill potential anywhere else in all of the lanes, because your team is out pressuring. So might as well just send a message out to that Cthulhu saying, hey, be careful. But I don't think there's a lot of kill potential until Thor either has help from somebody else or he opts to get a Heart Ward sometime, because then he can like really chunk a Cthulhu.
The classic strategy GM players miss the fault, establish doors. Classic.
Pretty much. And talking about ultimates.
Yep, speaking of which, there's going to be aggression in Soleil. Oh, a blink in and an interesting 72 transformations coming out from Ojibwe. But switch our attention towards Ares, who was ulted and also been ulted by the Nemesis. As Cthulhu dashes in, pops the ult. Ares very, very likely to fall here, as Cubbycuts manages to get some execute onto the 4. Looks for it onto Ojibwe, but doesn't manage to quite get it. But that's 2 kills in favor of Tyrnävä, and this is exactly what we saw happening last game. So, Tyrnävä, they run around on the map, they find these fights, they win these fights. Oh, and speaking of which, aggression. Better start running, Golds, and he's gonna be out. He is 100% okay.
That was such a good pre-beats from Ram. Like, wow. And I will say, I think Gods could have lived and actually won that fight if he dive bombed in, because by then the beats had already.
Oh, the early dash, that's not very good. But a massive 4-dunk managed to take out Archie Baker, hits every single ability, and he is out of there. Gonna chase down the Hui here, but unlikely to get much for it unless there's an Ares looping around, of course. Misses the Mjolnir's tournament, but it doesn't look like it's gonna end up mattering, as Raw manages to get it with the slow beam. And ends up being a fight in favor of Serbia, surprisingly enough.
I'm not sure if I'm surprised. They definitely out-rotated. Like nobody's business. There was an out-rotation. Thor knew where to be and how to get there. So there was a lot that happened, okay? And in the last, like, about 3 minutes. We had a fight in solo lane, immediately had a fight in the duo lane. To talk a little bit about the solo lane, Ares needs to communicate better on who used beats. Ra immediately ulted at the end of that Ares ult, but Ares should have seen that Nemesis beats. And Nemesis got out. And so there was no Ra target. And as soon as I saw 2 ultimates down on the side of Serbia, Tirana was able to just kind of abuse that opening.
Never mind.
And then in the duo lane, what we have is Nemesis kind of waited a little bit too long to kind of all in. And so that gave Thor a little bit more of an opportunity. Oh, might see a kill here, and yeah, that's going to be some Wukong
He is
gone.
out of there after the Achilles. Cthulhu and Nemesis CC and damage, just way too much for him to handle. Dies with all up, but I don't think it would have mattered as the Achilles execute would have finished him off before he could get up into the sky. But I wanted to ask you about the Hu Yi Rama match, because we did see Hu Yi almost get soloed there, but maybe that can wait as we see Archie Baker look for the invade onto this red, but Shane's coming out from Ares. It's good. Oh, big damage.
And no beads. Oh, it does have beads, barely.
And Kobe Cup manages to finish off Ares with the execute. Tyrnävä starts towards Rom, but Rom manages to dash out, and Kobe ends up getting punished for it. With a kill for Rom. Oh, and re-aggression by this 4-2, looking for Hui, but, you know, to no avail. He'll walk out of this safely. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to have, I'm not even gonna lie. So we did have a little bit of aggression onto the Nemesis. And I think that was just miscommunication there about who wanted to engage and how much you wanted to engage on. Because Nemesis was pretty poked out relatively early on. We already see some engagement here on the left lane. Thor hovering around that purple book. But Nemesis there to relieve some pressure. But nonetheless, yeah, like, here's the issue. You know, Nemesis got poked out super early on. Nuwa made the rotation in, but was relatively late. And Hu Yi was kind of zoned out. Achilles dove deep, which allowed, you know, I didn't really like the Thor on the Nemesis. Kind of really disliked that. I feel like he should have kind of collapsed onto Achilles or anybody else in that was already around that team fight. Kind of flex your muscles with the use of your wall, your 3, all of that type of stuff. But it worked out for them nonetheless because Achilles was so zoned out from the damage. Like, remember, this is still a support Achilles, and the support Achilles isn't gonna do too much damage like you're used to from a solo Achilles. So he was able to get bursted down relatively quickly when, well, you had Rom, and you had Rom just staring him down, and Tyrnävä able to get this nice little Gold Fury.
Yeah, they managed to sneak it away. Rom seems to have no idea after the ward is cleared away. And I was going to ask you a question, but it looks like a question in mid-air, so Archie does get pulled in, sniped, but he manages to get out. That is a blink ult from Ares to no avail. Nem and Nuwa ults used though, so not for no reason, but off the back of Tyrnävä's Gold Fury, pretty worth it in favor of Tyrnävä once again. So I want to ask you about something as we see the ADCs continuing to farm up here, so left-clicking creeps the way they do. What is the case of this? Oh, never mind. Once again, down from 4 is gonna go in, but you know, again, not too much avail. But he does manage to get the beads from Nuwa, and that is pretty big. Even though 4 does end up using his beads too, that means as soon as that Ares ult is back up, you know, it's pressing 4 time.
Look, here's the issue that I see right now. Serbia needs to calm down. They just saw that their biggest ult combo, which is a raw Ares ult combo, did not kill Nemesis. And Nemesis is one of the squishier members of the team of Tyrnävä, which tells me that they need to wait longer for more damage to come out line from Ra. Which means, in my opinion, you need to be farming more. Thor is doing what he can. He's putting out damage. But I also didn't like that engagement where he ults in, he gets the he gets Nuwa beads, but he used his beads. And now that means that Nuwa can turn and burn him, and that's a lot of damage here onto that.
Wow, getting low.
Wow.
Let's see a cheeky Nozick snipe coming out there, but nothing ends up happening as Achilles does take some poke trying to contest those oracles, but not much happening. But it looks like they may be contesting the Gods for Life here. He does have the beads and the Aegis available, but will it matter? He's gonna get pulled back in, and that's him. Clean engage coming out from the dual lane of Team Serbia. So,
yeah, that was a... Go ahead.
Speaking of the duo lane, I want to ask you about this Hui Rama match, because we did see Hui almost get solo right there, and it did all lead to a very big team fight into it. What do you think of this Rama versus Hui matchup? Who wins it, and how?
I think that but going back, using my old man brain to like remember what happened in that engagement, I think Hou Yi wins that matchup. I think I mentioned it a little bit. So what happened there? Rom did a beautiful pre-beat to avoid the stun. That forced Hou Yi up into the dive bomb. What Hou Yi could have done in that moment is dive bombed right back into Rom, because I think he was expecting to see somebody in the tier 2, but nobody was there.
Someone looking for a Reddit player right there.
But the Hou Yi could have dive bombed back in the ROM when the beads collapse, because at that point you get the knockup and it was literally a slim margin of kill potential. You just get a basic or two in. Hou Yi, especially when the mark on ROM, does a lot of damage because he's so low, and that would have been it for ROM. I mean, it's a weird matchup. I don't think anybody's particularly favored except for maybe Rom, just because Rom's in a really, really good place right now just due to the build paths. But Hou Yi has a lot of good options against Rom. He has a good stun, and if you can get, he has a good damage burst potential on Rom, and Rom really hates burst because his ultimate is one of his safest tools. It buys him time, but it can only buy him time if he doesn't get bursted in the animation wind up. And Hou Yi is really good at putting down the pain after that. And the 9 Suns of Hou Yi have to be treated a little bit different than the Fields of Love from Cupid. Fields of Love from Cupid forces out the ult. The 9 Suns can zone out the landing from the ult. If you put the 9 Suns behind Rom where he wants to roll into, he has no choice but to fight you or roll into the 9 Suns. And then he's just taking massive amounts of damage. So I do think Hou Yi has a lot of counterplay potential. It's not something that he's completely just, oh no, counterpick diff. It really does come down to the play styles of the two players.
Sounds like a very, very good explanation for the matchup. Very, very interesting matchup. ADC matchups can also very often be very, very much in depth. However, some people like to play with the attitude of just W key it forehead, and you know, that's fine too. We love you just the way you are. I'd like to take a quick look at the damage charts here to see what's going on, but as I say that, we see some engagement coming out as Serbia look to contest this buff, and that's interesting. I'm not sure about the XP2 currently, but I thought Tyrnävä is still ahead as the dunk comes down onto Nuwa, but it is missed by a hair, and she will get out just fine. One put up position now. 4 manages to hammer in, and that's 40 if I've ever seen it, so he's gonna go down. Ares pool not gonna be too much a veil anymore. Ares, you miss your body, but you're gone. And Ultimate jumps back in and manages to pick up the kill onto Gods for Life. That's 10 more push-ups, Archie Baker. And Infinity tries to go in and look for, but Ultimate has gotten another kill.
Yeah, this is a both teams. That's like getting clotheslined in Smite. Like that is very much getting clotheslined. You walk into a freaking stun just on the corner.
That's all I'm gonna say.
To go back to talk about that team fight, both teams kind of did some errors. Like Thor trying to do too much at this point in the game. Thor went in trying to get an ultimate, and after the ultimate, instead of disengaging, said, "Hey, why don't I just all in on the other guy?" Only to find that, yeah, he's actually protected in that situation, and that kind of got him killed, and it got Ares killed because Ares went in to try to peel for him. Now, what got Serbia ahead was that where was Achilles and where was Cthulhu? Cthulhu was in the back line, helping out the new wine to Hou Yi, but Cthulhu doesn't have good peel, and he's not super good at the peel. Achilles was trying to fight the Serbian back line, trying to fight Rom and Ra. This meant that Sun Wukong is just easily able to kind of bum rush the Nuwa and the Hou Yi relatively easily with nobody really there to peel him off of them. And that's really what happened. There's a disjointed team fight, but at two ends of the team fight. At the beginning, it was a disjointed team fight from Team Serbia.
Hello.
Nice.
This is rough. For Life has no beats, gets pulled straight in. He's dead again. That's another 10 push-ups, Mr. Sir. And you know, a clean kill. Oh, and the four dunks in, but you know, only onto the support Achilles. Rather questionable, I'd say. I don't know what the plan was for that dunk, but starting up the power through now is Team Serbia, but it looks like Tyrnävä do not want to give free despite the numbers advantage. Ross like wasted it, he could steal the goal through, but it doesn't even happen. Karvikov gets out on minimal HP, but Ross managed to pick it up. Now, Infinity gets the kill onto Raw. We have 4 low in the back. Relatively healthy still is the Rom, but he is getting poked down. Oshbika blink in onto the backline as we see Son Wukong pick up the kill onto Mino King on the New War mid. And Oshbika is just going to have to run away and leave Infinity to die here, ladies and gentlemen. It does not look good, but maybe? Oh, he's out. But, oh no, Wukong has located Nemesis. That's not good, and you know, that Nemesis pick is a lot better than Cthulhu pick in my opinion. Now they will stop this primary through for the second time with minimal resistance. So, Mr. Lucio.
Cthulhu's here?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's gonna look like it's gonna be a cleanup here. This is not ideal. Can they find the ROM?
I don't think so. I think he let them go.
He's chasing it.
Tier 2 for
Is he
this
gonna
kill.
get it? Oh
No.
no, nah, not gonna be able to pick that up. Now maybe Cthulhu may have baited himself a little bit harder than he wishes here. He's gonna go
That
down.
was
Sin
very
of greed
questionable.
in Philly. Sin of greed. But they do get the purple buff, so I guess it's worth.
Yeah. Okay, there's a lot that happened. Again, this is turning into basically kind of almost an arena match. They're just like, hey, our respawn's up, time to go fight.
Well, I mean, we're watching Tyrnävä set, right? Like, you know, I think they've mistaken, like, they have, like, you know Pyro from TF2?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know the Pyro goggles make you see it well, like, I think, like, Tyrnävä have those goggles, but instead of, like, showing, like, some Candyland, it just shows them the arena map, and, you know, speaking of which, Ruiz blinks onto the new war right there in middle lane, but, you know, nothing really gained out of that, except for a new war beads, so, oh well.
Yeah, oh well. But no, I mean, going back, okay. So here's the thing. Right now, there's a lot going on. It's really hard for me. Nemesis had bad target priority in that last fight. He went for one of the healthier members. He also went for one that he couldn't really lock down. And then when he realized that, and he also waited a little bit too long to get in there. Like, it was a 2v1 versus the Cthulhu for way too long. Nice little blink stun finds the beats of Ra. Ra gonna have to use that solar. I believe that's the solar flare, and to get out. Divine light. No. Solar blessing and divine light. Oh no.
I'm sorry, LucioHord. You're gonna have to go to jail for that.
I'm gonna have to go to jail. That's not good enough. It's cause you know why I call it solar flare? Because that skin calls it solar flare.
Oh, true, but like as you talk about raw skins, there is in fact a fight in middle for up in the air. Someone jump down on, and he does dunk, but not really seemingly anywhere that makes a play. Probably the call was just to disengage there. Achilles will back, and it looks like Serbia may look to siege down this tier 1 tower.
Maybe looking for a siege here.
It's
not a terrible call. Not a terrible call, because I don't think they have enough to do Fire Giant, and it is low, like you said.
Fight's already been started though, as Cthulhu dashes in, so there's the Achilles, and he manages to get the XP. The Ares ult manages to pull nobody, while very low in the back, but he has to abandon his entire team, while even though Infinity is chasing him down, he may be able to catch this, and he does. Ojiba once again just picking off one in the back line, but maybe won't be as lucky to get 2 this time around as Nemesis is chasing down the Ares, but he does not manage to pick up the kill, ladies and gentlemen. Instead going to switch his sights around to the Son Wukong, but I don't think he has time, he doesn't manage to catch it. No, the bird form has come back and Ares tries to take through the wall, but it doesn't hit anyone, and it looks like Tyrnävä are starting up the Fire Giant.
So, I mean, I know I've harped on it, and I'm gonna say it one more time, and then maybe I'll let it go. The Ares pick here is what's hurting them so much.
Can I get some justice for Madface in the Twitch chat, please? You know, being cyberbullied over the Ares pick, guys.
I mean, it's just a matter of there's no peel. Like, how is he supposed to peel for Ram? How is he supposed to peel for Ra when his only peel is the form of a cripple coming out of the chain? Now, look. I'm gonna say it like this. What's been happening is that Sun Wukong is doing solo things. Is doing really good solo things. He's been finding those kills in those engagements, but Ares can't stop Cthulhu. Ares can't stop Nemesis. Ares can't stop the Achilles. There's just no. He chains one of them, and if he misses his chains, he's done. Like that's it. That's all his peel is. I mean, he can give out HP 5, but due to the changes of anti-heal now, HP 5 isn't even really that great. And so like it does come down to all of the guys on Sirvana have really good ways out of Ares ult. So there's not really that much setup for the Ross Knight. Thor can try to peel for the backline, but then he's not diving with the Sun Wukong. And so that creates like this disjointed engagement. I would have, if you really wanted to set up the Ross Knight, I would have preferred the Cerberus. At least the Cerberus has a slow, even though slow immunity is kind of prevalent in the current meta. But also, Cerberus has a stun. Cerberus has a leap. He can get away. He has an ultimate that's a little bit easier to, that is not as vulnerable as the Ares ult. And this is kind of what we've seen in these fights is that, yeah, solo laner coming out of the Sun Wukong has been able to find value in these fights, but nobody has been able to stop the just W key coming out of Nemesis, Cthulhu, and Achilles.
Well, and now we're finally going to see a fight off this as they do blink in mid, and Oshbaker just blinking a bit ahead of his team. The Bulldog is going to hit 2 big squishes, and Oshbaker is instantly dead. Goes full back in, that's 10 more push-ups. And Cthulhu getting very, very low. That's a very questionable team fight. Carvicom is going to look for an execute. He does manage to get one onto the Sun Wukong. Are they turning this fight?
Yes,
Rob
they
was already
are.
gone. Rob was already gone. Carvicom doing a lot of damage. He manages to pick up the 4-2. And he's managed to keep it slow. Tyrnävä have turned this around. Well, I cannot not believe my eyes.
I'm not sure if they turn it all the way around, but they did definitely like make it to where they didn't lose it out. I think they drew out because really they wanted to win that fight because they were fighting around the tower. They didn't get the tower. It does give Serbia time to reset. They might have the damage to do Pyro between the Cthulhu. They should have the damage between the Cthulhu and the Duwa, which makes this actually a overall win if they get the Pyro without it, which they are. But again, what happened there? Achilles was just able to run rampant.
Yeah,
Who's
you know,
stopping Achilles?
how do you even stop a Finnish coffee cup? That's
I
my
don't know.
question here.
I don't know how you stop. You try though. You try with stuns and hard CC. That's what you do. You try your best.
Exactly. You try
And I-
and you try, but you just can't stop.
And I mean, I do want to say I ate my words a little bit. Ares was able to find like a really good ultimate in that team fight. But it shows that it wasn't enough. It really shows that it wasn't enough. Even the Ross Knight was really good, but it just wasn't enough to stop Achilles from just doing what Achilles does, which is going W King even in the support lane.
Absolutely, you know, Achilles also known as a very aggressive support. Now, I want to look at the Achilles' build here quickly, if you could walk me through this, because we did see the Relic Dagger last game.
So Achilles, I like the Relic Dagger. It means that he'll have beads more often for the Ares ult, for the Thor ult, for well, pretty much those two. Before I go too crazy, Mystical Mail is super good because you are gonna be in their face anyway. You might as well make them take damage for just existing. I believe that's Genji's guard. Yeah, that's Genji's guard. Gives him more use of his abilities. He is taking a lot of damage. He is diving a lot. It's kind of almost, to be honest, a solo lane build. It's almost a solo lane build. The only difference is you're not getting something that gives you a little bit more sustain, like a Stone of Gaia or anything like that. But and then the Mantle of Discord with his positioning, like I like this build because of where Kavi is positioning himself. He's positioning himself straight up in their face. He's making them take the damage from Mystical Mail. He's saying, hit me so I can use my stun more often. I have beads more often. I have blink more often. I'm not afraid. Oh, we see some aggression. This Sun Wukong getting bursted down. Has to go into the clouds. Now Ares blinks in, gets an ultimate. But Nuwa's in the sky. Does find a kill on the Ra. And Thorda able to find a kill as well as the Sun Wukong. I'll let you take it away from here.
Yeah, we already saw who can get knocked up by the fire giant right there. That's an extra 10 push-ups right there. But again, Tyrnävä just turning this once again as they managed to pick up the Raw. And now they're looking back. Archbaker looking for the fall here in the backline. Magi's of Blessing is available so that Tearstorm does not help him. And he manages to slice down the Sun Wukong. And now Madface, the Ares, is on the run. Looks like Tyrnävä are just going to turn their sights towards the mid-tier 2. And potentially even a Phoenix here if they're feeling extra crazy. But, you know, Archbaker fairly low. Maybe they won't look for it. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, look. Serbia's putting all their eggs in the basket of a good initiation. And they do have it. But then they fall apart after that initiation. They were able to find 2 kills early on, but then what did they do later? Wow. Wow. Ooh.
Yeah, this is one of the most questionable calls that I have ever seen in my life as Archbaker and Infinity do go down to this Phoenix push.
Yikes.
I think we hit the bottle a little bit too hard before we went this game 18-over, but I mean,
yeah, that was enough to bring out the Hispanic in me, man. Like, what?
No me gusta, I believe they say. And this is a very free way for Serbia to manage to try and look for this enhanced fire giant, but no, I can't be. So ready, but oh, the carries, they've taken the, oh my god, Coffee Cup. And the Juke coming out too. They managed to get the Oni Fury, and he managed to pick up the Raw too. And now a lot of Serbia is very low. Nuwa and Raw Huyi are walking in. Huyi with his ult ready. Maybe we can look for an SG steal here. Serbia managed to get it, but you know the fight isn't over yet as Goals for Life is looking kind of low there, and he manages to. Sun Wukong managed to pick up the kill. That's another 10 push-ups. Now Vulpis may have baited himself a little bit harder than he needs to as the Ares chase prevent him from dashing away. And he is out of there. 3 dead for Tyrnävä, 1 dead for Serbia, and we will see now how they choose to use this EFG.
So that, I mean, look what they have going for them from Tyrnävä is that it's not the end of the game. They got EFG, so what? There's a lot of towers on the map. They're gonna be up in time to defend Phoenixes. What really I didn't like, and this is gonna be again nitpicky, Nuwa didn't go for the stun. She went for the damage on the fire giant. If Nuwa had gone for the stun and turned for the fight instead of going for the fire giant there, they could have just killed they could have just killed the 2 on top of the fire giant and then turned on the rest of them and then made that actual into an actually fight. You do not want, like, what I'm thinking in my head, you get fire giant, sure. Let's assume that Nuwa had the damage to get that fire giant. You get the fire giant. You're just 2 carries against the rest of their team. Serbia is gonna collapse and kill. That is what they're gonna do on the back end of that. They're gonna say, wait, hold on. You just stole fire giant from us. You're the 2 carries. It's you and Huyi, and you guys are alone. We just take this fight. And that's exactly what happened on the back end of that. Like, they weren't able to get the kill. They weren't able to get the fire giant. And then the 2 carries were abandoned. Cthulhu came in a little bit too late. And then he got baited too and just straight up died. That just kind of happened.
So let's see. I want to draw our attention here. Some memery going on in the player damage chart. We will see the Huyi 11k. Very disappointingly low damage coming out from your attack damage carry at 33 minutes. Not entirely ideal, but if this is a Scroll 7 Goods moment, if I've ever seen one, if this doesn't count, I don't know what it is. Anyway, we're going to see Serbia starting up the point master here, but LucioHord, what's your opinion on the state of the game right now? Because Tyrnävä are 5k up, but Serbia have all the pressure and EFG. What's going on here?
Look, I'm gonna be real. Tyrnävä's way better position. Think about how long we've been talking, Scroll.
Really?
And they have done nothing with that fire giant outside of getting a pyro. They had to deal with the Oni waves. They took one tower. Now they're taking all these towers. But the important part at this stage of the game is not towers, to be honest. It's those phoenixes. This is gonna determine how much, like, who's actually gonna be in a better state of the game. If they're go ahead, take it away. Sorry.
All right, we're gonna see the forward dunk. Oh, is he melted? He pops the forward. He's already gone. They're super grouped up now. They're gonna have to try and salvage this team fight as Tyrnävä are pushing in, but Gods for Life has been picked. That's 10 extra push-up, and now the entire team is so low and they're on the run. Coffee Cup likely to fall here. Archie Baker getting out with silver HP, but Infinity is dead. Nino Kino and Archie Baker are the only two standing, and somehow it's not gonna be a Phoenix here for Serbia. And now they're going to be looking towards the mid-Phoenix too. How have they made this comeback so hard? As Archie Baker blinks in again, trying to look for this ROM. Gets the beads off, but you know, the sustain from the free and low to scroll means he's going to be very, very, very difficult to just take down that easily. As you see, they're already almost back to full health. They might look for this tier 2 too while they're at it. ROM is still up, which means they do have that structure damage to end up taking those objectives. Lucio, what happened there?
Lots of AoE damage. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. There's a reason why Rob is turning out to be one of the best mids in the game. Look at the buffs he provides to your team from his abilities. Coming out of his solar flare. I'm gonna call it that from now on because of the skin. At me later.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be starting a Twitter war after this cast.
That's for me. That's
justice for Madface. I want it trending in Europe.
That's perfectly fine. And then we have Solar Blessing. Those things provide so much buffs for your team. Rom at this point in the game literally just holds left click and just gets value. And he has to be a priority kill. Early on, he has to be Nemesis has to find the Rom. Nemesis and Achilles and Cthulhu, they just have to find him. Because, well, he is really the problem. Look at where he is in the player damage. Sun Wukong, now given, Sun Wukong has done a lot for Team Serbia. He has done a lot in terms of finding a lot of damage on the backliners, forcing them to back off, forcing them not to be there to put out damage. And so I don't want to disparage the rest of Team Serbia for their part, but this ROM is just getting so much value and so much space to just free cast. And sure, you find Thor, but at this point, Thor is irrelevant. Thor as a pick is irrelevant this late in the game. His biggest use is that ultimate, which is coming up already.
Aggression again coming out as Ojibur and Four just try to 1v2. Ojibur might fall here. He's bitten off a bit more than he can chew, but Serbia managed to pick up the EFG. Very uncontestable coming out from Tyrnävä. A very questionable engage, I'd say, right there, because I would have thought that it would be very, very tough for Tyrnävä to even defend that FG, let alone was it necessary for Sun Wukong and Four to push out that far.
I think I agree. I think I do agree with you. I do think that Tyrnävä wasn't in the position to really contest that EFG, but I also don't hate the call of saying, hey, look, if we get the Hoi here, or if we get anybody else here, their defense is that much worse. And if we lose Sun Wukong, it is what it is. Sun Wukong's going to be up before EFT. We don't need him to have EFT. We didn't lose anybody else. We still get the EFT relatively for free. They can even look at this Primal if they're so inclined while they wait. It was like a 50-50 call in a lot of ways. I don't think it was the worst thing they've ever decided. I don't think it was the best thing they've ever decided. There was some value out of it. They could have played it safe, but the problem of playing it safe is Cthulhu can just W key into that Fire Giant pit and possibly steal and or kill somebody. He definitely could have killed the Ra, for example, because the Ra was really, really low.
Very much maybe so, and as you finish that explanation, there's going to be some aggression of Rom looking very much out of position, forced to almost right where he's going to be collapsed, but in the back line, Archbaker looking for this Ra, and he manages to get it, but he does have to trade his own life out for it. Rom with off health on the left side, does manage to get picked up by Infinity, so Ultra is running rampant on the back line here.
This
But he
is
does
such a
get
big
picked
fight.
up because Gods for Life, he just has too much damage. He just kills him too hard. He has the Quins, he has the percent pen now. So much. Wait, that's the wrong build. He has the Berserker shield, that means someone can't just pick him off so easily. Ares is on the run, and so is 4 on the right side, and this means both Phoenixes will end up respawning for Tyrnävä, and this is a huge fight for Tyrnävä. Very, very worth every single possible way right now.
And tell me, I didn't just say earlier on what they needed to do was focus out the damage. And what did they do? They killed freaking Ra and Ram in like within let's say 5 seconds of each other. And that fight was over for them. That fight was over for Serbia. They just had to be like, oh, well, that's it.
Very rough, very, very rough, I'd say as well, from the Team Serbia. They're dying with their ults up. Kong still had access to his 4, and Ra still had access to his ult too, the big snipe. Very, very important ability there. Super high damage, super high DPS, and low cooldown, so, especially with the correspondence, so why not just spam it? The same way, it goes both ways, because Tyrnävä also saved a lot of their ults that engagement too.
I mean, you also gotta think Serbia's comp is designed to take advantage of good initiations. If they can't get the initiation, their team fight is so much weaker. Because I want to point out how quickly Nemesis was able to force Thor to ult. He forced Thor into the ultimate and won in a position. I'm gonna pass this back to you.
Alright, well, we're seeing Ares getting a bit out of position, a bit more than he'd like to be, I'd say. He gets very, very low, but he does look to be A-okay for the time being. His 4 is going to dunk down. Misses the dunk again, but does manage to get the new orb Aegis out of it. Kai Cup does go down to the Raw, though, and that means that this is a botched engagement coming out from Tyrnävä, maybe a little bit more aggressive than necessary.
A little bit, and the way that they positioned the carries were a little bit too separated. They couldn't output damage together, and they bottlenecked themselves. Look at where Cthulhu was in between that camp and the mid wall. Dude, your carries can't get into the position from behind that, because if they do, they're gonna get bursted down by the Thor. They're gonna get bursted down by the Ram. No matter what, they're not in a good position to give you that damage support that you need. But going back to my point earlier, that's hold on, we might see some more aggressive.
Yeah,
they're looking for
are they looking to end the game right now? Off this kill spree. Oh my god, who he gets straight blinked onto.
No.
He's getting super low. Manages to beat Aegis. He will survive as well. Manages to snipe for the pick. New was already gone through. Baker and Infinity are on the run here. They managed to pick up the mid things. They're marching straight into this Titan pit. Lucio, I don't mean to be negative, but this might be it. The raw here is dropped. Titan getting down to a
this is it.
HP.
This is PG right here. Thor still has ult. End it with the Thor ult.
Infinity's already gone. Titan's already down to like 5% HP. Kong does die, but that is game, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I did not see the end coming right there.
You wanna know why that happened?
What happened, Lucio?
Ward in the mid lane. They saw Hui really out of position. Immediately took advantage of it. You can't really see it because it's right underneath the ward from Tyrnävä. But as soon as they saw that Hui out of position, they were like, "Wait, who? Hui?" And they went immediately and collapsed on him. Very, very well done. Very good awareness there to say, "Wait, we can just grab Hui here." And the Ram snipes really had a lot to do with that. Ram's Astro Barrage, you know, he held on to that third shot until Aegis was down. Boom, went for that third shot, killed him right then and there. Very, very nicely done on the side there of Serbia to take advantage of that momentum that they had going on.
Well executed overall from Serbia victory, as we'll see the second other side victory for today's set. It is now 1-1 in the set of Tyrnävä versus Serbia, and we will be right back with Game 3 after a short break.
for somebody else. Circling the edge, way up high. Don't know if I'll ever have a useful alibi. Gone too far to stop. Yeah, I'll try. Flying, crashing, looking for a perfect suicide. Circling the edge.
When times are down, you know I'll be with you. Yeah, times are rough, this time I see it too. All this bullshit drama, I can see right through. Everybody wants something they can't have, so they gon' put it on you. Wherever you go, yeah, you can take me there. Over the ocean, I can see us there. Let's run away and be forever young. We'll catch the sun where there's no need to run. Wherever you go, yeah, you can take me there. 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 I see you and you see me too. We may be broke, but we see the truth. All this bullshit drama, I can see right through. Everybody wants something they can't have, so they gon' put it on you. Wherever you go, yeah, you can take me there. Over the ocean, I can see us there. Let's run away and be forever young. We'll catch the sun where there's no need to run. Wherever you go, yeah, you can take me there. Yeah, you can take me there.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again. It is now time for Game 3, the final game of the set of Tyrnävä versus Serbia. Once we can see 84% voters in favor of Finland, 60% in favor of Serbia, and with me today, going to be breaking down the game, break dancing at the very same time, LucioHord.
Yeah, break dancing. I mean, I don't even remember the last time I danced.
Right off the gate, we see a Sun Wukong ban, and I wonder why.
Yeah, Sun Wukong can be a menace. Honestly, one of the best solo laners in the game currently. I mean, he offers a lot in terms of ulting into a fight, ulting out of a fight. He just has a lot of versatility and how aggressive he can be.
Absolutely, and we see the counter ban Morrigan from Serbia. Rather obvious why we choose to ban Morrigan. She's kind of broken, she does a lot of damage, you see where this is going. And a Nemesis ban coming out from Tyrnävä. Why is that exactly again?
A Nemesis, I mean, we kind of saw it. I mean, like, Nemesis can be in your face doing massive amounts of damage. She can't get punished as easily because she's able to get out of a situation. She also kind of creates a really big hole in your team by making your tank less tanky. And you don't want your tank to be less tanky.
Right, and we're going to see the ban from Aphrodite, ban of Aphrodite from Serbia again. 3 games in a row. And something occurred to me the last game, and I realized that the Minokino Aphrodite is not all that bad. But, you know, Persephone banned, Cthulhu banned, likely due to how last game went, and then Ra insta-locked.
Raw's just so good. Raw is just like he has shown that, you know, the power creep isn't that real, you know, that there's a lot of space for Raw to be in a team.
Absolutely, and we see Rom and Tsukuyomi. Now, Tsukuyomi, not so prevalent when he was played, lost game 1, but maybe not in the ADC role this time as we see the Rom picked up. You know, 2 very strong characters, and is that what I think it is, ladies and gentlemen? Ratatoska locked in for Tyrnävä. Now, I do not know if this is going to support or not, but if this is not a Rat support, I am very, very disappointed, and I am immediately going to start rooting and being biased caster in favor of Serbia for the rest of this game, ladies and gentlemen. And the Nike as well, because why the heck not? Why the Nike?
Look, I don't know. Rat's weird. Like, everybody thought he was gonna be super duper
Oh,
good
no.
after his buffs, but he's good. I think
Well-
that's as far as I'm willing to go. Like, he's good.
Oh no, sir, you have not seen the Coffee Cup Ratatoska support. I have overarching PTSD from scrimming against it, so.
I mean, maybe it's something to see. Definitely something. I mean, I do like the Guan Yu pickup though. Guan Yu kind of does the same thing that they've been wanting to do the entirety of, from what I understand, the entirety of this set. Guan Yu's good W key. He's a good I'm gonna be in your face. He's gonna put out a lot of damage in that mid game, especially. Falls off a little bit in that late game, but it does seem like both of these teams are trying to fight in that mid game.
Very good CC coming out also from the Guan Yu, and as Serbia will turn their sights to bans, they ban out the Hades, once again likely to be targeting out Infinity, as his Hades is pretty nutty. I mentioned this game 1 that Serbia have definitely done their homework, and they have banned very, very targetedly, and they aren't letting the Tyrnävä get their comfort picks.
And I mean, that's the benefit of having a cup format like this, where you get to see teams play a little bit more often. You're scrimming against these teams, and so you get to see them with what they really like, what they really want to play. So, and then you get to say, hey, well, we don't really have a good answer to that, or hey, it's just super annoying, so let's just get rid of it. I'd rather throw them on something that we might have a better chance at managing.
Very fair. We see the Cabracano ban out from Infinity. He did pretty well on it game 1. Is not going to let him have that again. And we see Thoth and Scylla out for Tyrnävä again. They do not want those picks on Serbia, very understandably so, for reasons you mentioned earlier. But why don't you go ahead and reiterate those quickly for us?
I mean, it's just a lot of damage. It's a lot of range damage. It's a lot of poke. It's a lot of late scaling. I mean, arguably there is a solo build that helps her in the early game, but you just don't really want that to stall you out so early on. And it could come down to what you were talking about, those target bans as well. They've maybe seen Dope and Scylla, and they probably have that like, nope, well, don't want to see one of those, and you just get rid of it. You just say, well, if we don't want to see it, we really don't want to see it.
Well,
And you ban it out.
banning for annoyances is also very, very valid. Horse picked up another one of those very, very W key supports. Not very surprised to see that come out. You know, it seems to fit Mad Fate's style, assuming that is going support, and I can only assume it is. Heimdall and Kuzembo being hovered currently by Tyrnävä. What do you think of those picks?
I really don't want Heimdall into a horse if that horse is going into the support lane, which I assume that's where he's going.
Why is
And that mainly because there's a lot of disruption that horse has for Heim that Heim can't really. Heim has to beads a lot, and beads is his most valuable tool of getting out of a situation outside of course, his ultimate. But Horus can also follow him in his ultimate. There's just a lot that Horus can do to a Heim. Now, I'm going to counter that. I'm going to kind of eat my own words and say that Kuzumbo is probably the best person you can put with Heim in that regard, because Kuzumbo is going to give Heim the space to get away. Like Kuzumbo is probably one of the best space givers in the game.
Very, very true. His ult does a very good job of zoning that sumo slam, being able to push enemies away. Extremely nice, and we see the Arnie locked in as the final pick here, and that will round off this draft once again. LucioHord, who are you giving it to?
It's kind of tough, you know. This is not. I don't think this will really come down to a draft diff. I really don't think that's gonna be what it is. As you mentioned, Ratatasker is gonna go into that support lane. Rat can still also give a lot of space with his acorn, so that I don't really hate that either. Look, I'm gonna be real. Zixi on that ROM was super potent, and if they can't find an answer to it, it's gonna be really hard for Tyrnävä, because ROM was just able to free cast, able to do so much damage in the late game, and he was relatively unbothered in the early and mid game for the most part. So that's something they need to be careful about for the side of Order. It's just tough. I will say I think I favor Order. I think I favor Order, mainly because the unorthodox comp means that Serbia has to be conscientious. Like, they can't put it in an autopilot mode and be like, oh, we're gonna play like this because this is how the game is gonna go. No, you have to be aware that you have a Nike in the jungle, which means that you're gonna have a tankier jungle, one that's just gonna show up and like do a lot of damage and have a lot better of those base stats, gonna be present earlier in the game than a Nemesis or even a more traditional jungle. You have a Ratatasker in your support lane that will give you a lot of versatility, a lot of damage output, and you have a Kuzumbo as your solo, which means that backline's going to be hating their lives every time they get sumo slammed, and then they just have to get hit by double thorns, right? Like, there's a lot here that they have to be careful of for Serbia.
So once for the final time, I'm going to go ahead and introduce your teams. On the blue team, on the Order side, this game is going to be Tyrnävä or Team Finland. We're going to have Kuzembo in the solo lane, being played by Infinity, Archbaker on the Nike jungle, Mino Kino on the Raw mid, Carvey Cup on his signature Ratatoska support, and Gods for Life on the Heimdall. And from the red team, Team Serbia fighting out the Chaos side, we're going to have Ojiba playing the Guanyu solo, we're going to have Tsukuyomi being played by Noijo in the jungle, Siley playing on mid, Mad Face on horror support, and Zixi on the Rama once again in ADC. Once again, meta starts coming out for the most part from both sides. Once again, dual lane opting to start for the Harpy, and it's just been farming up so far, with Serbia taking a slight lead of 20 gold. Never mind, switching towards Tyrnävä, so nothing really important just yet.
I think things are going to be relatively calm until level 5. Nike really wants her ultimate to go ahead and start looking for rotations. This is gonna be an interesting solo lane matchup because Kuzenbo has really good interrupts for Guan Yu's Talu Assault. So it's something that I'm really looking to see where junglers want to make their presence known and how they want to do it, knowing how aggressive, knowing how potent Rom is, but also knowing, well, speaking of, there's a jungle rotation right there.
Oh, yeah, looks like it's going to be aggression in solo, and Ojibwa very low, but Infinity even low, and that's going to be first blood in favor of Serbia. Nigel going to pick that up, and you don't want to see that first blood on the Tsukuyomi jungle, dude.
Yeah, for sure. You really don't want him to get that much closer to getting his items online, getting the ultimate online. You also don't want to see. You also don't really want to see it in the solo lane because as soon as Guan Yu's able to rotate like safely, he is. He's gonna hit level 5 and he'll be like, "Is that a gank available in mid?" And he's gonna show up with his horse and stun out.
So, you say that you are expecting a calm early game here, but I think you forget who exactly it is we are watching right here. Rat support, obviously, probably going to be looking to play a little bit aggressive, do you think?
Relatively aggressive. He does want to flex that he does put out more damage, but it's going to be really tough. I was about to mention this. Really tough into a Horus who A, has good sustain, and B, can match that aggression really, really well. You know, he has a stun, he has a knockup in his kit. Then he can just dash away to whoever he needs to in order to heal himself and his lane partner. And that just might turn into an issue here for the Ratatasker.
Could very well be, and as well as Ratatoski, you're not getting a lot of value unless you are getting very, very far ahead here, so they're going to have to play their cards right if they want this game to not end up in their favor. But once again, we see Archie Baker rotating over to Duo, but maybe they are a bit more aware it's happening this time around.
She did walk over to Tiny Ward, or if that's, I'm not sure if that's, yeah, that's a Tiny Ward. She did walk right over to Tiny Ward, and they're just kind of like, maybe this isn't for us. But look at that.
Hello, Infinity here to play. Minokino misses the snipe onto the 1 HP Tsukuyomi, and he will be a-okay. Infinity, though, manages to trade out the Guan Yu for the Kuzembo, and I'd say very well played coming out from him as Tsukuyomi rotates to solo once again.
Yeah, I mean, you do want to, if you're going to die, you want to trade out. And that's really important for Kuzembo, particularly. I mean, I'm sure he was hoping, hey, let's get to Tsukuyomi as well. But Rod just a little bit late on the rotation, so it's not a really big deal. They did trade out. Kuzembo's going to make it to wave, probably clear that, go back to mana buff. So it's a relatively even trade.
Yep, relatively even is indeed correct, and on top of that, it is a Guardian solo, so you know that's going to end up getting way more potent in the late game in comparison to this Guan Yu, especially, but for the time being, you know, just farming up. Relatively quiet in comparison to what we've seen these past few games.
Yeah, I totally. I mean, like, it comes down to the picks that they really picked up. Like, again, Nike doesn't really want to engage without ultimate. You don't really want Tsukuyomi to engage without ultimate. Ratatasker is Ratatasker usually more aggressive, and vice versa. So is Horus, but because they both have aggressive supports, and I speak of that.
Hello, aggression in duo lane as Rat drops onto Ram from sky. He goes up into the air, but will it matter is my question. No, it will not. It will be a kill for the Heimdall ADC onto the Ram ADC, and the lead is already being established here.
Yeah, and that's one thing, again, I was just about to mention that. Rat, another god that wants to play around the ultimate, and it does give you, especially this early game when the wards aren't really there, to really kind of just ult in.
Oh, hello, aggression once again as an Archbaker is forced to put the ult. Tsukuyomi ultimate into that could be a kill. Yes, he does manage to go down. And while this is happening, solo kill in the solo lane as Ojiba managed to pick up Infinity right there. And now we see Team Serbia looking to secure some mid-account series. They are beginning to strengthen their lead ever so slightly by winning team fights such as that and catch Archbaker out of position.
Yeah, and they're still looking for more.
Oh, hello, Carby Carp. You have overstepped a little bit, my friend, but he is out Now Minokino is here to come try and clean up, maybe? Nice jukes coming out from Tsukuyomi. Nothing will end up happening.
Again, and it's kind of like I said earlier, we really are just seeing them play around their ultimates as much as possible, because both teams drafted value ultimates to have value regardless of like situation. They don't really need too much team setup, or they just help to set up the team. And we do see a nice blue buff invade coming out here.
Big blue buff invade coming out here for Tyrnävä, as they will pick that up and steal it away from Aguan, who is arguably a very mana-hungry god.
He really much is. I mean, his passive giving him cooldown reduction on some of his abilities means that he will be using mana hungry, but I'm not surprised that they turned this into a blue buff invade for themselves.
Yeah, they're gonna look for it again, but it looks like that blue team do manage to secure it once again, and Infilty is also gonna be A-okay as Rat donks down to just look for some poke, but nothing too big happening as they can't really fight this out. However, Minokino being caught by Tsukuyomi out here does get the ult up, and he is just fine because raw heal is fair and balancing. Archie Baker is being caught once again, CC to change to death. Doesn't even manage to get the ult up there before he dies. Cubby Cub also looking not too healthy there. Now Nigel will pick up that kill with the Tsukuyomi. It's not looking good for Tyrnävä so far.
Yeah, you got 2 mana buffs, but you lose 2, and you lost a speed buff.
Ooh, nice. Cheeky little sniper attempt there coming out from Minokino. I don't disrespect it, I'm not gonna lie. But this is very, very scary coming out from Tyrnävä, because they've dominated the early game so hard twice in a row now, and now they're losing the early game. That's interesting, especially with a pick early. With their picks too, it's 2 weak early game. Nike does very well early, Rat does very well early, and so does Raw. So why are they losing these fights? What's happening?
I mean, it really comes down to Serbia is kind of determining the pace of the game. They're having really good rotations out. They're really and again, they're playing around their ultimates. We saw how, you know, Tsukuyomi used his ultimate, how Agni, one of the things is also that Agni is able to put out sustained damage a little bit better and a little bit more efficiently than Ra can at this moment. And that's really creating a lot of the difference here between these engagements. Also, the big deal is that Agni has do more before Ra. That allows him to do more damage. And here we see the rotations once more.
Yeah, and look at this again. Now Guam is outbound and makes it very tough for him to contest this blue buff invade. That's how he's stopping out. It's going to be a fight out here. Cup getting very low in Filthy. Just trying to ult away, peel for him, but Minokino is getting 1 HP and he's dead already due to this Tsukuyomi. He is so big right now. As well as that, Ogni manages to pick up Archie Baker the Nike, and Filthy is on the run, but he is out of there.
Yeah, and that's Suki doing Suki things. Like it's one of the things
Oh, hello, Golds for life, Golds for strife, and he's dead. The Zixi with the snipes. This is looking scary if you're a Finland fan right here, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't look good. As Serbia will take their earliest lead. I think they've had a speed buff, so gets invaded. The Kobe Cup getting low, but not entirely killed. We're gonna need some serious plays coming out from Tyrnävä here if they want to pull this one back, I think, Lucio.
Yeah, and I mean, like, here's another thing that I didn't really get to touch up on a little bit too much. Was Serbia has better responses to a Tyrnävä dive than Tyrnävä has an answer for a Serbia dive. Like, Serbia has no real answer for when Tsukuyomi goes that deep, because usually Rat is looking further deeper than a normal support. Heim hasn't rotated to these fights quite yet. Nike doesn't have a good answer for Suki, because she's also diving that backline. So is Kuzumbo, and Kuzumbo can't answer everything that Tsukuyomi is trying to do. And so that means that what we see is that Minokino is in a compromised position. That means that he dies, and once the damage is gone from these fights, they get to go forward.
Oh, the Goldfree being started here by was that by Tyrvana or by Serbia? I couldn't even tell, but
they started by Tyrvana, and then Tyrvana stole it.
It's so interesting when they're so far behind already, but they managed to take the goal through, but they lose Kobe Cup and Archie Baker for it. Is that worth?
No,
It's
stop. You can see the goal difference and the XP difference. They didn't change anything. I guess it made it a little bit more neutral, but the problem is it's not worth, because you also lose pressure in a lot of those lanes that Now they have to rotate from base. You know, jungle's not going to be there. Support's not going to be there. They're going to be looking. That opens up their jungle as well for the invades. And Tsukiyomi's probably spotting out 3 here. And he's like,
Hello. Gods for Life gonna look to make a play here. They might actually be able to catch this fight out. Horse is getting very, very low. Rom has no ult. No dash looks like an eater. They're gonna die. And while this is happening, Nike manages to pick up a kill onto the Tsukiyomi. That's a huge kill. He's worth so much at the moment. He's so big. And that's a free for nothing just now for Tyrnävä.
yeah, that bad calls by bad rotation from Serbia, right? In all honesty, I think that Agni and Guan Yu tried to turn on the fight in that jungle, right? Instead of Tsukiyomi just rotating straight all the way to duo lane, or what really should have happened is that they all backed away. They just all kind of backed away with Tsukiyomi trying to create that space for the duo lane to back off, but they didn't really get the back away quick enough, which allowed Heim and Rat to have a better engage underneath the tower against the Rom and Horus, and also for Tsukiyomi to get collapsed upon by the 3 in that jungle before Agni and Guan Yu were able to make their rotations over. So it was just a rotation that was really easily caught out. There wasn't enough ward vision for the side of Serbia to kind of catch out that they were being counter rotated, and that's just really unfortunate right there.
Well, I mean, I said it would take a serious play for Tyrnävä to get back into this. They have managed to reduce Serbia's lead to only 1,500 gold. And this is quite crazy. This is a serious combat going on, because this looked like it was over already. I thought this might end up being one of those early F6s, but no. Tyrnävä, once again, just, you know, flexing their muscles and showing how strong they really are at Smite.
Well, this is what I really like about Smite. The game really, it's hard to be over before 20 minutes, unless you really misplay.
My ranked teammate would beg to differ, LucioHord.
Oh yeah, but that's ranked. We're talking competitive. It's a little bit different. Now, we do see maybe a cheeky gank onto this Rom.
Hello, the dashes were being used from Archie Baker, but they're gonna be looking for this cheeky Rom here. Archie Baker, does he have the blink? It's available in 5 seconds, and he does have an ult, but he decides not to chase this down wisely, as he does have support. Very... walk me through there. Why does Nike use the jump over the purple buff right there?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I would have preferred to see blink. That way you could leave the later. I don't know. Oh well, he didn't have blink later. He didn't have blink go.
Oh my god, 3-man lookup into the 2-man lookup. That means Arnie is getting very, very low, but he may be out unless Phility manages to pick that up. In the meantime, though, Ghostlight does manage to pick up the Horus. Split from the fight is Rom. He's super late. Tsukuyomi's already gone. That looks like Guan's gonna throw the cooldown 2 here now. Rom is in the air looking for Mino Kino. Does manage to find it with the slice. Infinity blinks into the tier 1, interestingly enough, to look for this, but doesn't manage to get it. Oh, and not over yet. Apparently it's Rom. They know the dash is gone. They may be able to pick this up. That's his B's, that's his Aegis, and he rolls out safely. But that's both the relics off the attack damage carry.
Yeah, Rom took a very dangerous path. I don't know. That's one of those things that as an ADC, you gotta say, they were fighting in the left jungle. I should path around the tier 2, between the tier 1 and tier 2 instead of pathing back to the XP camp, which is I think where he was going. In the back XPs, but you kind of have to just go and not try to like get farmed up at that point, because you're really just kind of left alone. But no, I mean, going back to what's been happening is Tirana is finding good rotations, and going back to the Nike question, yeah, I don't like the Nike leap. Just walk to him and force the.
Here's the thing, though. I want to make a point out of this because this is very interesting. If you will look at the ward placement currently in the top left side of the map, you will see there is a ward in the usual intersect where you would walk in out from. This is very interesting because this means Archie Baker looped around the Golfia picture the long way into the purple camp to not get spotted by the ward, and then jumped over in order to not be spotted beforehand. This is extremely high gameplay game knowledge to know that there is very likely to be a ward there if you haven't sentryed it, and to maybe try and look for a sticky gap, even though it didn't end up working out. It would have been gone much worse had he been spotted over that wall. I think that's insanely smart play coming out from the Nike.
I see that point, but to give you a counter to that, he was not, Archie was not in any danger of being collapsed upon in that situation.
Oh,
So he
hello, ladies and gentlemen. Still gonna be an ult coming out from high, but he bifrosts all the way to the depths of Brazil, but he runs into a Guan Yu on the way. But the team is already there. The Raw Heals is there, and the Rat ult was already available. Such a fast rotation time coming out from here from Tyrnävä. Crazy teamwork here. And what's happening? Archbaker going crazy in the backline, and looking for Rom, manages to get the ult off, but the health shift is already depleted. He's only level 13, guys. Rom looking to finish him off, but doesn't manage to do so. Infinity still in the backline, looking to get some damage off, and he does manage to get some damage off, but not manage to finish the kill just yet. Big snipe coming out from Mino Kino. It's gonna help Godfly pick off the Arnie right there. Rom very low in the backline, but the front line is breaking as we speak. Tsukuyomi dead. Golf for Life is going nuts, and that's 4 dead. 4 dead. What has happened, Lucio? What did they do? They were so
Target priority.
Serbia was so far ahead.
Target priority. That was really down to target priority. I mean, Guan Yu went to ult the Heim after he was out of position, but then like there was nobody to really follow that up, and he doesn't have the damage to just outright kill Heim. Because Heim did have options to get out of that situation still, nonetheless, and his team was going to be right, there. Another thing was that during that entire team fight, how many kills were dropped? Like, you know, there were so many low health bars on the side of Tyrnävä, and then Serbia was not in a position to follow up on any of them.
And look at this, FG, it's free. No one's even anywhere near close enough to contest this.
Yeah.
And that's a 3k lead for Tyrnävä's favor now. They've made this comeback and they've made it successfully. Now they can look to take down every single tier 2 on the map, and they have not taken a single tower yet even, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a huge gold swing in favor of Tyrnävä. And again, it looks like Serbia are just they're backed up against the wall once again. But we have seen them come back from this. And now we will see if they manage to hold it again, or if this is just going to be Tyrnävä taking a set. What do you think?
Look, I think that Serbia, if they can find, at this point it's Heim. Heim is a problem. So you know how in game 2 I was saying Rom's the problem? You're having the opposite issue here. Heim is just free casting. Like, we saw him in that last team fight. He's within like 3 different people, and for some reason Heim is still alive in that situation, right? You have to kill out Heim. He's getting ahead. Well, he is ahead. He is getting really ahead is what I mean. And him being able to just straight up free cast is not a good look. He's outputting a massive amount of damage.
Horus all looking for gods for life here. Got the Guan Yu with him, but that was interesting, to say the least, as there is no one anywhere close to follow that up. A wasted horse at worst, but it's a horse, so you know, could be worse.
It could be, but I mean, at this point, you're on defense. I don't know if you needed to use the horse ult like that, especially when you didn't have eyes, in particular, most of the team. You only really saw the Kuzumbo. You know he's not going to be alone, so there's no real reason to just jump in with the Guan Yu. And especially when Tsukuyomi wasn't following that horse ult up. It would have been different if Tsukuyomi came in with that ult, because then Tsukuyomi could ult somebody. Guan Yu could have ulted that same person, and that person probably was just dead unless they pop Beats Aegis in the same moment. So yeah, I just don't really particularly like the use of the horse ult, because they could have used it there to force the fight around Pyro. They could use it to fight around objectives. They could use it to get out of a bad situation. And now it's going to be a little bit down.
Hello, Tsukuyomi looking kind of cold in that blue buff, and luckily Tyrnävä comes around to help warm him up, and it looks like he's gonna fall. Oh, maybe he's out. 1 HP, Ross like not gonna hit. But Kari Cup does manage to pick it up, and that means 1 pick advantage in favor of Tyrnävä currently. And now they're just going to be looking to siege it down. Archbaker and Kari Cup in the mid lane. Kuzembo, Raw, and Heimdall in the right lane.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, that's just split up. Like, Serbia, like, you had two on that blue buff, and then most of your team was in mid.
He's just straight up out of position, really, isn't he?
Yeah, that's just straight up out of position. It's just not good play in that regard.
Or it's flying out. They're going to start sieging this Phoenix down, boys. Looks like Guan Yu's going in. Archbaker in the back line. Guan Yu getting super low. He's going to be out though, ladies and gentlemen. Raw in the air, looking for some sort of damage, but Komikop getting super low, maybe dead. No, only manages to get picked, and the horse lands back down from the Niflheim ult, and he's gonna get instant on the way down by this time. He's putting out so much damage, and now that's 2 for none, favor to Nova, including the Phoenix.
Yeah, look, it's what I've been telling you this entire. You saw where Horus ulted, right? Nowhere near Heim. You gotta ult on Heim. You have to look at Heim. He look at what his health is, and he was standing in the middle of the Phoenix, in the middle of it. Not like most ADCs on the Phoenix line. He's just standing in the middle.
Looks like they're going to start trying to siege down this mid Phoenix too, as they do have a big advance. It's going to be very tough for them to hold. The Tsukuyomi ult is popped, and so is the Guan Yu ult, but to no avail. They're barely even low. They have the raw heal. So they're just going to take this mid Phoenix down for free, and then left tier 2 maybe going to be looked at potentially, but maybe they're just going to play it safe and back off. 10k difference now for Tyrnävä. How do you come back from this to Serbia?
It's what I've been saying, and I want to say it again. It really does come down to picking the right targets in a team fight, and they just haven't. They just haven't picked the right targets. And I mean, I'll give this to Tirana as well. They've done a really good job of creating that space because of the fact they have a Kuzumbo, they have a Nike, they have a Ratatasker that are just full on diving the back line there. But you still have like Tsukuyomi, you still have Horus that can get you in the position to just dive the Heimdallr and bring him down. And I mean, it is hard to kill Heim, but you have the tools for it, right? You have the tools for it. You have so many stuns. You have 3 reliable stuns coming out of Agni, Tsukuyomi, and Horus. You have 1 stun coming, an additional conditional stun coming out of Guan Yu. Like you just need, you do need to collapse on this Heim. There's no reason why an ADC should be free casting in the middle of a Phoenix, in the middle of a team fight. There's just no reason for it.
So we're going to see FG started up here once again by Tyrnävä. Very, very, very not very scary now if you're a Serbia fan. It looks like Horus might end up falling here, and he is gone, ladies and gentlemen. Komikop straight into the air to look for these backline hits. He did locate them. That means the Omni Dash, that's Rom beads, and he's getting very, very low here. He has no slope available to him. Lasered, he's gone. This is looking like it's going to be game, fellas. Ogni, super low. Ogni sliced down by Archie Baker, and now Tsukimi trying to make a play, but it's too little too late. Now Ojibo, the only man alive, and he's going to fall down here, and that is a deicide. And ladies and gentlemen, Tyrnävä are the winners of this group stage set.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what we've been talking about all game. Tyrnävä went in there like it looked like a ranked team at the end, and that's just being frank about it. You know, Horus the only one trying to contest FG. The 2 carries somewhere in between the support and the solo laner, which means they had no peel. Then like the solo laner's kind of confused. He's like, do I fight? Do I not? He decides to kind of back off. Then Tsukuyomi goes in, and then Guan Yu goes in after that, and it just turns into a full-on rout. There was no reason to fight that far outside of your Phoenix line, to be honest. It's not EFG. You're still relatively behind, so you should be either pushing out other lanes while they're doing that FG so that you can get farmed back up, or just defend around the Titan room and try to find Heim, try to find Ra, and get those 2 dead, so that way that their siege potential is kind of down, but not looking for that fire giant steal, not like that.
Well, congratulations to Team Finland or Team Tyrnävä for the victory of the set. 2-1 in their favor. That will conclude tonight's stream. Anything else before we go, Lucio?
No, I think that was GG's. I do want to point out that while game 3 was rough, Serbia definitely was playing really, really well in that game too. I didn't get the see the game 1, but game 2 was really, really well done. And so props to them and GG's to both teams involved.
It just shows you the very high level of Smite we're watching here. This isn't some very, very casual, like, uncoordinated mess. This is extremely calculated play from both sides, but unfortunately it just means Tyrnävä comes on top. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. at Vulpis Esports on Twitter for updates on new tournaments. And remember to join the Discord if you would like to also play in them. There will be more streams in the future, more of these sets being casted. So if you are interested in seeing the results of the Vulpis World Cup 2020, then stick around, join the Discord, come say hi. We're a friendly group. We don't buy except on Tuesdays. So thank you guys for watching the stream, and we will see you guys next one.